girls. Welcome to another episode of Miss McIntosh's Music. On today's episode, we are going to do a three-part lesson. We're going to review some rhythms first, then we're going to bake some salt dough together, then we are going to build some rhythms with the dough and practice clapping and playing and saying them. So let's start off with a rhythm review. We're gonna start with the biggest note that we know. And the note looks like this. Does anyone know what this note is? If you said a whole note, you're correct. How do we say that note? Right, we say ta. Can you say it with me? 1, 2, here we go. Ta. So we make 4 sounds for our whole note. The next note that's a little bit smaller is this note. Does anyone know what this note is? That's right, that's a half note. A half note makes sounds for 2 beats. So a half note sounds like this, ta. Can we try doing 2 half notes? 1, 2, here we go. Ta, ta. Awesome job. The next note I want to review is a quarter note. Now a quarter note is only 1 beat. So a quarter note sounds like ta. Can we do 4 quarter notes? 1, 2, here we go. Ta, 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 ta. Good job. Can we try doing 1 whole note, 1 half note, and 2 quarter notes all together? Ready? 1, 2, here we go. Ta, 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 ta. Can we do that one more time? 1, 2, here we go. You did it without my help. That's awesome. So sometimes when we mix up the rhythms and we add in some extra things like rests and TTs, we get rhythms that look like this. So here we have a half note and 2 rests. So this rhythm card sounds like this. Ta, sh, sh. Can you do it? 1, 2, here we go. Ta, sh, sh. Nice. Let's try adding in a rhythm we didn't review, the TT. You see the TT? So we have a ta, and a TT. Let's put it all together. 1, 2, here we go. Ta, TT, ta. Can you do it without me? 1, 2, here we go. Whoa. For all of my grade 3s who have already learned this, let's see if you can remember what this is here. Ready? 1, 2, here we go. Ticka, ticka, tee, tee, ta, ta. Now when we do a ticka, ticka, we don't clap a ticka, ticka with our hands. We pat it on our lap because it's a lot easier to pat faster. So let's try this all together one more time. 1, 2, here we go. Ticka, ticka, tee, tee, ta, ta. Without me this time. 1, 2, here we go. Awesome job. And the last curveball that I'm gonna throw at you here is this. Now grades 2s and 3s, do any of you remember what this is here? And no, it's not a happy face. This is called a tie, and a tie ties these 2 notes together. So instead of being ta, ta, together they are ta, just like a half note. Let's try doing this rhythm card all together. 1, 2, here we go. Ta, ti, ti, ta, without me. 1, 2, here we go. Nice. Now can we go through each card that I have up here without stopping in between. Ready? 1, 2. Here we go. Ta, teep, tee, ta. Ticka, ticka, teep, tee, ta, ta, ta. Teep, tee, ta, ta. Shh, shh. You guys are awesome. Now put on your aprons and let's get ready to bake. All right, boys and girls, so I have just washed my hands. I've mixed the salt into the flour, and now I'm going to add in my water and mix it around. When you eventually get to the point where your dough gets kind of hard to mix, then that's when you're gonna wanna start kneading the dough with your hands. But if you haven't washed your hands, then that means you can't touch the dough. So go get washing your hands before you get to this part here. As you can see, the dough is kind of clumpy, which is okay, and it looks like we're at the point in time where I'm gonna start using my clean hands and kneading the dough just like this. Once you get all the flour mixed into your dough, if you want to add food coloring, you can add a couple drops and change the color of your dough. Otherwise, after it's all baked, you can paint your salt dough creations, or you can try to color them with a marker. It's up to you, but if you paint it with acrylic paint, you can seal it and they last for a really long time. So get kneading your dough and then we'll come back and talk about what we're gonna do with that after. All right, boys and girls, so now that I have my nice dough ball, I could use a roller to roll out the salt dough and cookie cutters to make it flat. Whatever you cut out of a salt dough, it holds its shape when you bake it. But because we're gonna do notes today, we're going to not roll it out and just take off a piece. Now, if you don't have the ingredients at home to make salt dough, you can also just use Play-Doh for this, just don't bake it. So I'm gonna start with making a pretty simple quarter note. So I'm gonna start with the note head with a ball, and then I'm gonna flatten it out because the flatter my salt dough creations are, the faster they cook in the oven. So here's my note head, and then I'm going to add a stem to it, and ta-da, I have a quarter note. Next, I'm going to make a half note. So I'm going to start with my note head. So I made a ball. I'm going to flatten it down, but a half note has a hole in the center. So I'm going to stick my finger in there and make it into a hole, and then I'm going to add my stem on. Now you can use your salt dough to make whatever notes you want. Ticka-tickas are pretty hard to do, half notes, whole notes, TTs, whatever you'd like to do, but turn them into some musical notes. Actually, I think one of the hardest ones to do would be a rest and a treble clef. So I'll put up a picture of the note shapes that you could do, and you can pause the video on those and have fun molding away and get baking. Once you've made your salt dough shapes, you'll put them on parchment paper in the oven. Depending on how thick your shapes are, they can take about 45 minutes to an hour to cook, or if they're really thick, sometimes it can take up to 2 hours. Feel free to increase the temperature from 200 degrees to 350, but it might cause the salt dough to brown. So if you cook it lower and slower, then it'll stay nice and white. All right, enjoy. All right, boys and girls, when your notes are ready to come out of the oven, let them sit aside and cool off, and then you can start painting them. Once you've painted your notes, then you need to let them dry, and then that's when the fun starts. You have to mix up the order, and you can say them, clap them, or play them. So for example, if I were to say my rhythms, ta, ti, ti, ticka, ticka, ta. Or I could clap them, ta, ti, ti, ticka, ticka, ta. I could play them if I have an instrument at home, ta, ti, ti, ticka, ticka, ta. So it's up to you. See if you can trick your brothers or sisters or your parents. See how many different rhythms that you can make. And I would love to see some pictures of what you come up with. So great job. Have fun baking.